Have you ever wondered what separates the truly wise from the rest? It's not about memorizing facts, showing off knowledge, or even avoiding mistakes. True wisdom lies in how you live, how you treat others, and how you grow from your experiences. But here's the catch. Recognizing wisdom isn't just about spotting it in others. It's about looking inward, identifying areas where we can improve, and striving to be better every day. Today we'll uncover 6 unmistakable signs of foolishness, not to criticize or judge, but to reflect and learn. Each of these signs carries a profound lesson, one that can guide us toward becoming more mindful, empathetic, and self-aware. And remember, this isn't just about self-improvement. It's also about helping others who may not even realize they're stuck in their own cycles. As we explore these 6 signs, take a moment to reflect. Have you encountered these traits in others, or even in yourself? Wisdom begins with awareness, and by the end of this journey, you'll be equipped with insights and practical Stoic strategies to live a more intentional, thoughtful life. Before we begin, let me ask you, what does wisdom mean to you? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to join our growing community of seekers, learners, and Stoics. Ready to take the first step toward greater self-awareness? Let's dive in. Sign 1. A closed mind. A closed mind is like a locked door. It keeps the unknown out, but it also traps you inside. Those with a closed mind reject new ideas, resist change, and cling to their own limited perspectives. They see the world not as it is, but as they want it to be, rigid, predictable, and unchallenging. But here's the truth. A closed mind isn't a sign of strength. It's a fortress built from fear, pride, and stubbornness. Why? Because acknowledging new ideas often means admitting you don't know everything. And for some, that's a terrifying thought. Take, for example, a manager I once knew. Let's call him Mark. He insisted on sticking to the same outdated processes his team had used for years, even as competitors outpaced them. When a younger colleague suggested modernizing their methods, Mark dismissed the idea outright. "This is how we've always done it," he said. His unwillingness to adapt not only stifled his team's progress, but also led to missed opportunities and a frustrated workforce. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic emperor, once said, "If someone can prove me wrong and show me my mistake, I will gladly change. I seek the truth, which never harmed anyone." This is the essence of wisdom, a willingness to learn, grow, and evolve. If you notice this trait in yourself, start by asking, am I resisting this idea because it challenges me, or because it's genuinely flawed? Be open to feedback, even if it's uncomfortable. When you unlock your mind to new perspectives, you're not just letting the world in, you're giving yourself the freedom to grow. Remember, wisdom isn't about being right all the time. It's about being brave enough to say, "I was wrong, and I want to learn." So if you ever find yourself resisting a new idea, take a deep breath and ask yourself, what could I gain if I just listened? Sign 2. Constant blaming. Blaming others might feel like an escape, but in reality, it's a prison, a mindset that keeps you stuck, powerless, and unable to grow. A foolish person often has a ready list of excuses. The project failed because of the market. The relationship didn't work out because the other person wasn't good enough. Or success didn't come because luck wasn't on my side. But here's the hard truth. When you constantly point fingers, you lose the opportunity to learn from your mistakes. Blaming might protect your ego in the short term, but it robs you of growth in the long run. Let me share a story about Lisa, an event organizer I once worked with. She was in charge of planning a major conference, but the event flopped due to poor attendance. Instead of reflecting on her own role, like failing to send critical details to the marketing team on time, Lisa immediately blamed the marketing department for not promoting the event effectively. Even when the truth came to light, she refused to own up to her mistake. The result? Lisa lost the trust of her colleagues. Her unwillingness to take responsibility created tension within the team, and she eventually stepped down from her position. The Stoics teach us that strength comes from mastering responsibility. Epictetus wisely said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Wise individuals understand that taking accountability, even when it's hard, leads to growth, trust, and self-respect. So, how do you break free from the cycle of blaming? Start by asking yourself, did I do everything I could to make this situation better? If not, what can I learn from this? Taking responsibility doesn't mean you're admitting defeat. It means you're choosing to grow. Blame keeps you stuck, but ownership moves you forward. The next time you're tempted to shift the blame, pause and reflect. Choosing accountability not only builds wisdom, but also strengthens your character. Sign 3. Arrogance over humility. Arrogance might look like confidence at first glance, but in reality it's a barrier, a wall that blocks growth, understanding, and connection. A foolish person often wears arrogance like armor, trying to prove they're the smartest in the room. But true intelligence isn't loud. It's quiet, humble, and willing to learn. Think about Michael, a manager I once worked with. In every meeting, he made sure his voice was the loudest. He interrupted his colleagues, dismissed their ideas, and even mocked suggestions that didn't align with his own. When a major project failed due to poor planning, Michael refused to take any responsibility. Instead, he blamed his team, saying, "They didn't execute my ideas properly." But the truth was obvious to everyone but him. His arrogance blinded him to the value of collaboration. His inability to listen and learn ultimately led to repeated failures and a loss of respect from his team. Arrogance isn't strength. It's insecurity in disguise. It shuts down conversations, ignores feedback, and alienates others. In contrast, humility opens doors. It allows you to say, "I don't know, I made a mistake," or "Teach me." This is the foundation of true wisdom. The Stoics understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most powerful emperors in history, wrote, "If anyone can refute me, show me I'm making a mistake or looking at things from the wrong perspective, I'll gladly change." That's humility, the willingness to prioritize truth over ego. If you find yourself slipping into arrogance, here's a powerful question to ask. Am I trying to learn, or am I trying to prove myself? When you choose to listen, collaborate, and admit your limitations, you don't diminish your strength, you amplify it. Arrogance may feel like control, but it's a trap. Humility, on the other hand, leads to growth, respect, and lasting influence. Choose the quieter, stronger path, and you'll see how it transforms not just your mind, but your relationships as well. Sign 4. Lack of empathy. A lack of empathy is one of the clearest signs of a foolish person. It's more than just an inability to connect with others. It's a failure to see the world beyond your own narrow perspective. Without empathy, relationships are shallow, misunderstandings grow, and harm is often caused without even realizing it. Let me share a story about Paul, a manager at a busy firm. Paul had a habit of focusing on results without ever considering the people behind the work. When one of his team members, Susan, missed a deadline because her child was seriously ill, Paul publicly reprimanded her during a meeting, saying, "Excuses don't get the job done." He didn't stop to ask about her situation, didn't offer support, and didn't recognize the emotional toll she was carrying. Weeks later, when Paul faced a personal crisis and needed time off to care for his ailing father, he experienced the same lack of understanding from his peers. It was then he realized the damage his lack of empathy had caused. Not just to his relationships, but to the team's morale and trust in him as a leader. Empathy isn't just a virtue, it's a strength. It helps us connect, build trust, and create environments where people feel valued. Stoic philosophy, often seen as emotionless, actually emphasizes the importance of understanding others. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, 'The people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. They are like this because they cannot tell good from evil.' This isn't an excuse to withdraw from others. It's a reminder to approach them with understanding and patience." Empathy is the bridge between conflict and resolution. It allows us to see past someone's actions and into their intentions or struggles. If you ever find yourself judging someone harshly, pause and ask, "What might they be going through that I don't see?" By practicing empathy, you don't just become kinder, you become wiser. It broadens your perspective, strengthens your connections, and helps you navigate life with grace and understanding. And remember, when you show empathy, you set an example for others, creating a ripple effect of kindness and wisdom. Next, we'll uncover another hallmark of foolishness, the fear of change. Let's dive into why it's so dangerous and how embracing change can lead to strength. Stay with me. Sign 5. The fear of change. The fear of change is one of the most paralyzing traits a person can have. It's the comfort zone disguised as safety, the illusion that sticking to what's familiar will protect us from failure or pain. But the truth is, life itself is built on change. It flows, evolves, and transforms constantly. Refusing to embrace it doesn't preserve comfort. It ensures stagnation. Consider Michael, a talented professional stuck in his ways. His company began adopting new technologies to improve efficiency, but Michael resisted every update, saying, "I've been doing this for 20 years, and it's always worked fine." He clung to outdated methods, convinced that change would only complicate his work. Over time, his peers adapted and thrived while Michael fell behind. Opportunities passed him by, not because he lacked skill, but because he feared stepping into the unknown. Stoic philosophy teaches us that change is inevitable, and resisting it only causes suffering. Marcus Aurelius said, "Observe constantly that all things take place by change. The wise don't cling to the past or fear the future. They adapt, flow with the current, and find strength in resilience." Imagine a tree during a storm. The rigid branches snap under the pressure, but the flexible ones bend and survive. The same is true for us. When we resist change, we become like those rigid branches, brittle and vulnerable. But when we embrace it, we discover new opportunities, new perspectives, and new strengths. If you find yourself hesitating when faced with change, ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen? And what's the best that could happen if I take this leap? Often, the fear of change is far worse than the change itself. Growth only happens when we step outside our comfort zones. By embracing change, we don't just survive life's storms, we thrive because of them. True wisdom lies in knowing that every ending is also a beginning, and every challenge is an opportunity to evolve. Sign 6. Talking more than listening. Talking more than listening is one of the clearest indicators of foolishness. It reveals a lack of awareness, an inflated ego, and an inability to truly connect with others. When someone dominates a conversation, interrupts constantly, or disregards the input of others, it's not just a sign of poor communication, it's a sign of missed opportunities for growth and understanding. Think about this. The wisest people you know are likely the best listeners. They don't interrupt. They don't speak to prove a point or to outshine others. Instead, they listen deeply, absorbing perspectives, learning from every interaction, and speaking only when their words add value. Take Jane, a team leader who always believed her ideas were superior. In meetings, she would cut off her team members mid-sentence, insisting her way was the best. Over time, her colleagues stopped contributing altogether, feeling unheard and undervalued. The result? The team's creativity and collaboration dwindled, and Jane found herself isolated and resented. Now, contrast this with Stoic wisdom. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "It is the mark of an educated mind to entertain a thought without accepting it. The truly wise listen more than they speak, understanding that there's always something to learn from others, even if they don't agree." If you find yourself talking more than listening, pause and reflect. Are you truly engaging in a dialogue, or are you just waiting for your turn to speak? Are you seeking to connect, or are you trying to prove something? Real strength lies in the ability to hold space for others, to value their input, and to respond with intention rather than impulse. The next time you're in a conversation, practice active listening. Let the other person finish their thoughts without interruption. Ask thoughtful questions to show genuine interest. And when you do speak, make your words deliberate and meaningful. Listening isn't passive. It's one of the most powerful tools for growth, connection, and wisdom. By mastering the art of listening, you don't just learn more about others, you also discover more about yourself. That's the hallmark of true intelligence. Conclusion. So, we've uncovered the 6 signs of a foolish person: a closed mind, constant blaming, arrogance, lack of empathy, fear of change, and talking more than listening. These traits may seem like barriers, but they're also opportunities. Opportunities to reflect, grow, and choose a different path. Remember, none of us are immune to these pitfalls. We've all closed our minds to new ideas at some point, blamed others to protect our ego, or talked more than we listened. But the key isn't about being perfect, it's about being aware. Awareness is the starting point of wisdom. As Stoic philosophy teaches, the path to wisdom is a journey, not a destination. It's about embracing humility, admitting mistakes, and striving to improve every day. When we open our minds, take responsibility for our actions, practice empathy, welcome change, and truly listen to others, we not only grow as individuals, but also inspire those around us to do the same. Ask yourself, which of these traits have I recognized in myself? And how can I take one step today to move toward wisdom? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your reflections and insights. If this journey toward greater awareness and personal growth resonates with you, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more empowering lessons inspired by Stoic philosophy. Together, we can continue learning, growing, and becoming the best versions of ourselves. Thank you for watching, and remember, wisdom isn't about never stumbling. It's about always rising with greater strength and clarity. See you in the next video.